everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of October in my reading journal, and I want to just let you know that there are a couple of times throughout this video where footage jumps around a little bit. Unfortunately for you guys, I was listening to an audiobook while I was setting this up, which is something I normally do, and I was too engrossed in the audiobook to realize that the camera had actually stopped recording. My camera that I use for most of these videos, the overhead shot videos, it's a Canon, and it has a 25-minute video span, so I always have to wait when it finishes that 25 minutes and then push record again, and obviously I was very occupied and missed that a couple of times. So I've got that out there now. You just saw me fill in the bookish scare-a-thon with the covers that I printed out of all the books that I read. I actually completed both my readathons for the month of October, and I'm really happy that I managed to do that. I also, I think, got very close to finishing the TBR vending machine game. I think I left one off and just chose not to do that one. And yeah, had a really good month for the month of October. I ended up reading 13 books, which is why you can see that there's a little tip in the bottom right corner of this reading log. The book by India Holton actually covers book 12. So yeah, very good month. Very happy with what I managed to read and had a really good time. There were quite a few 5-star reads, and it was actually a little bit challenging for me to pick between a couple of them because I really had quite good cozy vibes this month, and also read a couple of books that I wasn't expecting much from and had a really good time with it. So very happy with the overall process that went into October. It is one of my favourite months of reading almost every year, and it definitely didn't disappoint. Here we are now in the stats page of this video, and every month when I wrap up I like to show you the full page being put together, and this one I forgot a pen, so I decided to just go with the orange for everything. I was meant to use a Crayola Colours of the World brown for the header line, but I ended up using the orange. But that's fine. The orange and brown go well enough together and finishes off this one dark window, or the Shepherd King duology theme for October, very nicely. And I really had a good time with this theme. I think it was the perfect one to choose for October, and I am grateful that I decided to use it. So onto the main stats section a little bit here to talk a bit more about stats of the month. Like I mentioned, I read a total of 13 books, and only one of them was one that I would class as not great. And that was actually an ARC. It was the first read of the month, 𝓛𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 𝓤𝓼, and that is my lowest rating of 2.5 stars for the month. And then apart from a couple of 3.5 stars, most were 4 and 5. So I think it was a really good month. I read a total of 5,094 pages. My average was 4.1. I listened to 42.8 hours of audiobook, so you can imagine that my top way of reading for the month was definitely audiobooks, and that has helped me a lot because my mum is now home and I'm caring for her a great deal, but that also means that I'm trying to do tasks as well as read at the same time, and audiobooks are just great for that. Unfortunately, a lot of this footage here is actually done off camera. Like I said, I was reading that audiobook, or listening to it, sorry, and had no idea that I wasn't even filming the right portion of the book. When I zoom in, I forget sometimes that I've done that, and naturally end up not filming the correct amount of footage. So you can see now I've gone, oh no, and then decided to continue filling in this bottom portion of the left hand side of the page, which is about the book that I sampled and then decided wasn't for me. That's something that I call books that I don't get past 10%. I don't even class them as a DNF because I don't feel like I've put in enough effort to say that I read that book. And unfortunately, License to Bite was not for me, and that's fine. So I'm just going to finish decorating the bottom portion of this page. I always find that the stats page, if I don't have a lot of books brought, which is a good thing for my bank account and also for my bookshelves, is a lot of blank space at the bottom of this page always happens. So try to keep some of the Pinterest pictures that we find aside so I can use that to fill the gap, but I still had quite a lot of white space left on this right hand side when I finished doing the rest of the stats, so I do end up putting a quote down the bottom, last minute sort of thing. I am now going to put down the best read of the month, which was Sorcery and Small Magics by, I hope I'm saying this right, 𝓦𝓱𝓿𝓲𝓷𝓭. This is a debut novel and it was so good. I had such a good time. If you love banter and cozy fantasy, please pick this up. It was such a good book. I loved 𝓤𝓲𝓭𝓮𝓷𝓭 so much, and I'm actually going to have to reread it soon because the audiobook is out and I just want to hear how they speak to each other. I just had such a good time, and when I say that I sobbed at this book, at the end there's this really wholesome scene and I was like crying. I was like, why am I crying? It was so good. And just really cozy and inviting. A lot of the books I read this month were that way. I also read The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and oh my god, had such a good time with it. It's so welcoming and soft, and there is a sentient plant in it. I just had such a good time with that book. I also read The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton, and I love her writing style of bringing things to life, like inanimate objects to life, and just like there's this one part where they have a kiss scene and she's like the whole world is swooning, and it's just delightfully written as usual. The humour was very good. I had a good time with it. And I think the other 5-star read I had was slightly different from these cozy fantasies. It was 𝓚𝓚𝓚 by Hannah Bonin Young, and this was really good to read because I haven't really mentioned it on here. I tried to keep it quiet, but I don't really know why. My mum ended up having her leg amputated, so and that was how we were able to save her life, and it hit really quite close to home reading this book. So it's about two people who have different limb differences and coming together because they end up having a one-night stand that leads to accidental pregnancy, which is not a trope I enjoy, but I had such a good time with this book. I keep saying that, but I did. I had a really good time reading this month. So just finishing off this page now with the quote. I could have chosen so many different quotes from this book. I honestly loved One Dark Window so much, and I will be hopefully continuing with Two Twisted Crowns in the month of November. It's on my goals to read that book because I need to finish the series before the year is out. Now that this page is complete, we can flip back to the front of the book and then move very quickly into filling the Days Read pixel. Like I mentioned, every time I fill this in, I love watching it and seeing all the trends come together, but this year has been really interesting to me because not a lot of trends. You can see that they last maybe 2 to 3 months, but then they end up going awry in some way, whether or not I read more, less, or don't read at all. So the key above mentions what colour is what. I accidentally used the wrong tan. I grabbed the brown instead of the tan for, is it day 10? But I do come back and fix that. As you saw on the page where I was working on the stats, I made a mistake and put the social media header in the wrong place. So I ended up using some sticker paper and then rewriting it. It's exactly what I do with this little square that's wrong. In a moment, I end up going with a tiny little square, sticking that over, and then, as you can see, it's about to be stuck down, and using the correct colour pen. And this is a trick that I learned from Jashi Cohen, or Jess, on YouTube. She's very good with bullet journaling tips, and I really enjoy fixing things that don't have to be done with like correction tape or something like that. I'm just adding a couple of things onto this page that I don't usually share in my wrap-ups because I don't normally add anything to it, and I also didn't have enough printer paper space for November's cover theme, so I'll add that in next month's. And we're into my reading data journal. I'm so excited that you guys are all enjoying the reading data series of setting up my new journal for 2025 and onwards. I am having such a blast with it. I will have part 3 next week. I'm very, very excited to dive in and get it all set up. It's actually, I think I've only got 1 or 2 more pages to go. The footage is a bit hairy in this last portion, but I hope you'll enjoy it. I am just adding some new series to the series tracker and going to colour them all in, and then I think there's a big jump because my camera died, or this is where I was reading that book and too engrossed. Either way, it's not done the greatest, and I do apologise for the lack of footage going straight into the 2024 glance at a page, 2024 at a glance page. So as you can see, we're already here. It's very zoomed in, and I'm just going through and adding those 5-star, or 5-star is blue, or the other colours onto the calendar when I finish the book. There are a couple that had the same colour and ended up being on the same day that I finished, but other than that, they're all tracked, and this page is done. So I'm now going to take you back to the main journal of the year and do the final flip through for October now that we've wrapped it all up. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me, listening to me rant a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say rant, but rave. Rave's the word I want. Rave about really good books. And until we next meet, I hope you have a fun reading or journaling. I hope you're keeping yourself safe, whether that be mentally or physically. And I will catch you up in a new video very, very soon. It'll most likely be the reading data journal. Thank you very much. Bye.